The Worst Podcast Ever can also be listened to on Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and many more. Links in the description below.
So much about the...
What would you say if I turned into all the things you love to hate? Hands on my way comes crashing through the rotten beams and window panes.
All right, everybody, what is going on? It is 2022. We are back, baby. Ow! Yeah. 2022, a new year. A new year where everything is going to be so much better. Yeah, I don't know. Probably not. Guys, how are you doing? Took a little time off here around the holidays. A little bit longer than I thought I was going to take. You know, the family's home, getting down here to record and not have a whole bunch of noise going on in the background is a little bit of a challenge, but we are back. Never a bad thing to take some time. Guys, it gets crazy around the holidays. Sometimes, man, every year I look so much forward to the holidays, and then about the day after it's all over and done with, I'm like, thank God. We put so much pressure on ourselves to get through these holidays and to get together with people and to cook and to all this stuff. And then afterwards, it's like, oh, thank God it's over with. I don't know. Maybe I'm just different than other people, but yeah, that's how I am a lot of the time. So the new year happened. Christmas has happened. I hope all of you guys had an awesome Christmas. Mine, it was fine. It was good. Same thing with New Year's. It was fine. It was good. COVID just tore through this area. I don't know where it's like or what it's like where you guys are at, but here, all of a sudden, like a week or two before Christmas hit, and that just took off like wildfire up here. So it was really hard trying to navigate those choppy waters, to be with family and friends during the holidays. And a lot of times it didn't happen. We were supposed to get together with friends at their house for New Year's Eve, and it didn't happen. Our friends, all of them, ended up getting COVID. Not all of them, but the people that were going to be there, whose house we were going to go to, my buddy gave me a call and said, hey, no, we all tested positive. So it's been kind of it was a weird holiday season. Just it felt a little bit even weirder than the year before, and that was nobody got together. But we got past it. It was relatively quiet and painless, and that's how I like my holidays. Just, laid back, and I enjoy cooking. I really do. And I do a lot of cooking on Thanksgiving, not so much on Christmas. My aunt does that, but I am in negotiations with her, trying to get that away from her, maybe just a little bit. But I don't know. Do the rest of you guys like to cook? I mean, nowadays more than ever, guys are out there. We're putting the hammer down, buddy. We're putting it down. And which isn't a bad thing, because, I know a lot of guys, especially like now that smoking is a big thing. And like my buddy Mike, who was on for one episode, he was supposed to be my sidekick here, but that guy, he's out there on the grill and the smoker all the time, making delicious things, which is awesome. I'm not bad on the smoker side of things. I'm a relatively new to that whole thing. On the grill, I don't know. I'm okay. Inside, I love cooking stuff in the crock pot, and this is the perfect time of year to where cooking in the crock pot just is insanely awesome and super easy. I've always liked cooking, and my mom was a big into cooking, and she was really good at it. And when I mean really good at it, everything was delicious and super not healthy for you. And that's how I cook. So in case you guys can't tell, got to get on that diet, man. So what are we doing here? I want to talk to you guys. Last year I did at the end of the year or at the beginning of the new year, what my plans were as far as collecting, as far as gaming, going forward. Did I hit all those? I don't know. I was going to go back and see how much of that I actually lived up to. I don't want to, because I could probably tell you without going back and taking a look. Probably didn't live up to too much of it, but that's okay. I mean, it's first class problems. You know what I'm saying? So I kind of took a minute here, collected my thoughts, and this is what I came up with. And one of the first things is, as far as everything gaming is, I hope I get my Polymega this year. I guess I'm going to get it eventually. I know that there was supposed to be like a fourth container coming in off the West Coast here sometime soon. I haven't really seen anything. I haven't gotten a confirmation email that anything's been shipped. And as excited as I was for this thing, I got to tell you, over the last month and a half, I've actually been thinking about maybe just selling this thing once it comes in, and not scalping it, but maybe just, I don't know, I don't know that I need this thing now. When I ordered it, I really wanted it, but I don't know. We're going to see. There's been a lot of things that have changed since I ordered the Polymega in between then and now, as far as me collecting and as far as my thoughts on gaming. Just, I bought it originally strictly for to do turbo graphics. And now that, number one, the games are so expensive for turbo graphics, and two, that Analog's talking about coming out with that Turbo Duo or whatever it is, that's going to be FPGA that does the same thing. It kind of makes me want to try and get that. And if I get that, what am I going to need this other thing for? Well, another thing that I wanted the Polymega for was because it plays CD-based games. Namely, in my case, it would the one thing would be Sega CD games. Here's the thing with that. I don't really collect for the Sega CD anymore now. And that's kind of changed since I pre-ordered that. Number one, the games like to suffer from disc rot a lot of times. And I know a lot of people say, well, I haven't run into that. I have. In some of my games that I had originally brand new, they look perfect. Not a scratch on them. Have hard time playing. And another thing was, I had bought the EverDrive, or the Mega EverDrive Pro, and it plays Sega CD games without the Sega CD player. So I just the other day packed up my Sega CD player because I don't need it out anymore to play those games. I still have the games out on my shelf because, I'm a collector, but I mean, now that's just one more thing that I don't need out of that Polymega. So I'm probably not going to sell it just because it's the Polymega. Just in itself, kind of because of everything that we've gone through to get to the point to actually have this thing in my hands, it's going to be a collectible to me. So, blah, 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 blah. Polymega. I don't know. We're going to see. We're going to see if I get that. I mean, at some point this year I will, I'm sure, or not. I don't know. I'm going to keep collecting for the Xbox 360 and PS3. And that's going to be my main focus as of right now. And that was my main focus this year, was collecting for those two systems. Kind of that generation, because we're in this sweet spot to where that seems like where you want to go. And because I don't know what else to collect for right now, that's It's not going to A, cost me a lot of money, and B, trying to find the games. I would love to buy more GameCube games. Good luck finding them. I mean, you go on eBay, but you're going to get bent over. And I mean, not that you're not getting bent over everywhere else, but resale shops, they got like zero inventory as far as GameCube games go. Even when I went to the conventions, man, there wasn't that much there. And of course, what's there is just mega moolah. And I don't know. I'm kind of floating the idea here of getting my GameCube modded with a optical disc drive emulator, which wouldn't be the first console that I've had that done to. Stay tuned for a video soon to come. Little preview of the future here, but yeah. So the Xbox 360 and the PlayStation 3, two really good consoles. In kind of my eyes, the last of the great consoles before everything just took a nosedive in the digital. And we've talked about that before. I'm not going to go over that again. Whatever. But yeah, so the Xbox 360, PlayStation 3. I'm not going to say I'm not going to pick up games or something else. I mean, I would like to pick up some more games for the Wii U, seeing as though I only have one game, and that's Shovel Knight. So I probably should pick up a couple more games for that. But that's another system. Trying to find games for that, very hard. Maybe not as hard as the GameCube, but still not easy. At least quality games. Going to conventions, that over the last month has become a big question mark. In 2022, they have, I think, in February, Mo GameCon Jr. is coming up, and I was going to go to that. I was going to take my family to that, kind of spend the weekend down around St. Louis. I can't say that I'm going to do that now. Actually, I know I'm not going to do that now. With the resurgence of COVID in our area, kind of feels like maybe not the best idea. Now, the Midwest Gaming Classic is coming back in the end of April, very beginning of May. And I have the days off for that. I actually took vacation time for that. Have not gotten my tickets yet. I don't know. That might be a game time decision as far as whether or not I'm going to go. And that's another reason, like I said, with the uptick of COVID or whatever, and I'm vaccinated, my family's vaccinated, but still, I don't want to bring stuff back in the house if I don't really need to. And I was a little nervous going to conventions this past year. Everything worked out fine, but, still got to be careful. Got to be a little bit of responsibility here, because it is just for video games. And I know I'm saying just, but, that's a big part of my life. But at the same time, too, it's still a luxury here. So I don't know. So Mo GameCon is later in the summer, I believe. I don't really know the date for that. I don't know that I've actually came out with the date yet. They might wait till after Mo GameCon Jr., but that could be the next convention I go to, is the regular Mo GameCon. But we're going to see. All this stuff right now is, except for Mo GameCon Jr., which I'm definitely not going to. Everything else is kind of up for grabs right now. Nothing's been decided for sure. So we're going to see. We are going to finish my EverDrive setup. So, I don't know of the last time we talked about this, but when I talked about my EverDrives, I did buy the Mega EverDrive Pro. I think that's how you call it, the Sega Genesis one. And it's really great. It plays Sega Genesis games, Master System games, I'm going to say Game Gear games, and Sega CD games. I'm loving it. And I'm loving all the other ones, because I already showed and talked about and did a video on the one for the regular Nintendo and for the Super Nintendo, and I am loving these things. And, I had to take a hard look at, I don't have the money, and very few people do, to go after these collections to buy a lot of these games. They're just getting way too expensive right now. I don't know when the prices of these things are going to come back down, and I'm tired of waiting. So I'm working on a project right now with another Raspberry Pi build, still the 3B Plus. Although I might be going to the Raspberry 4 here, I'm not sure. But for now, it's easy for me to do this, and I'm doing a Neo Geo build along with a TurboGrafx build, all on the same card all together. I do already have a build that I was working at before, which has a lot of the same games, a lot of the video previews and the box and the cover art and all that. This is going to be more of a basic game, kind of like what you get in the EverDrives, where you don't get all that fancy stuff. You just get a list of games and you just go in and play. And that's kind of what I'm doing right now. And actually, when I get done recording this, I am going to go and work on my Neo Geo build on my Raspberry Pi, because I'll be honest with you, I'm pretty sure they make an EverDrive for the Neo Geo. There is zero chance of me picking up a Neo Geo. It is way too expensive, and the games are way too expensive, and there's really no point in me picking one up when all I'm going to do is put the games on an EverDrive. I'm just going to put them on my Raspberry Pi. And they play very well on the Raspberry Pi, I might add. So, what else we got going here? And I don't want to give away too much, but along with that, maybe a mod to my Dreamcast. I would love to get the HDMI mod for it. Trying to find parts for that, actually finding the mod, good luck. I think it's called the DC HDMI or DC Digital. I've been keeping an eye open. I don't know when this is going to come back in the stock, but it is not in stock now. And the same thing, I've been waiting to get the HDMI mod for the N64 from FX Pixel or Pixel FX, yeah, Pixel FX, and they're out. At least every time I go on their website, it says sold out. I don't know, guys. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, you're at the mercy of these companies and the situations that they are in. But here's one of the things here, and I'm having a little bit of an issue with like a lot of these companies and why they can't keep stuff in stock. So, as you know, I'm looking to do stuff to my Dreamcast, and one of the things that I'm looking, and there might be a video coming out pretty soon, I'm just saying, of the GDEMU optical drive emulator for the Dreamcast. Now, the original one costs $400, and it is never in stock. Never in stock. Here's the thing. If you go on eBay or you go on Amazon, guess what? Guess what you can find that's made in China? You can find clones of these things, and they're like anywhere from $40 to $100, depending on which one you get. But they all are basically the same thing and basically do the same thing as the original. Now, my question is, how is it that these ones are able to be made in such large quantity, but the actual guy that made the original one hasn't been able to keep up? Because I looked to see if his stuff was in stock, and it's always his was. The pre-orders have been sold out. So it's like, it's really frustrating with a lot of this stuff. I want to do this, I want to do that, but it's never in stock. It's like, damn it, man. And I don't know if, like, can these things be in stock, or are these people only doing, like, certain size batches? because they don't want to be stuck with a whole bunch of these mods not selling. So they're just going to sell what they know they can sell and then, do it in batches as they go along. That's my guess. And I guess that makes sense. But it sucks for the rest of us because there's a lot of us that want to get our hands on this shit. And, I'm not seeing it. Except for the GDEMU. Which there might be a video coming out of that sometime soon. I'm not saying that I bought one. I'm just saying maybe. Okay, we need a little bit of a drink here because I am just rambling right out the gate. And another thing I want to do, or I plan on this year, is I'm going to get into Halo. I've kind of dabbled in Halo back in the day. Actually, the first time I actually played Halo was PC. And now I want to go back and do and beat the first and second one. That's kind of like one of the things that I want to do. And I know that that's kind of like, why did I come up with this? It's just something that's been on my mind lately. I want to beat the first and second one. Now I beat the first one on PC, but I want to beat this. I want to beat it on console here, and playing that on PC was easier, in my opinion, with the mouse and the keyboard. I know, and people that have never played PC games, first person shooters, won't understand. But I love the keyboard. I love the mouse. It's just so much easier to aim. Anyway, so that's one of the things that I really, really want to do, even if I just get one of them, because it gets hard at the end of the first Halo. Now, the second Halo, I've only played a little bit. I've never really dived into that like deep. But going forward, 2022, that is where I want to be with my collecting, with the games I want to play. And of course, there are so many other things. That's just a couple of the things that I want to do. I got a room full of games and nothing but time. Right. So that's kind of what I want to do. What it is that you guys want to do in 2022, leave it in the comments down below. If you're watching this on YouTube, I'd love to know, what games do you want to play this year? What hardware do you guys want to pick up? Let me know. All right, guys. Believe it or not, this podcast actually has some regulars that listen to almost every episode, which God bless them. But bless their little hearts, right? I mean, I don't know why they would do that to themselves, but bless their hearts because, I put a lot of effort into this. This, just making this look pretty now for the video, in the audio. I mean, this silky smooth voice doesn't come, easy. I got to practice. I got to do my voice exercises. So when people listen all the time, it's much appreciated, And that being said, I'd like to give a little shout out to one of the people here. And I'm going to do this every now and again. I want to give a little shout out to somebody that I know, and he's a great guy. And that's Captain Algebra. Or Tim, as I know him. We're on that level. Anyway, and if you don't know Captain Algebra has a YouTube channel on YouTube, oddly enough, and it's a nice little channel. It's nice. He does a good job most of the time. Now, let me just say, it's no Midwest Media Show. Okay, we got to temper expectations here, but few are. But that being said, it's still a nice, quaint little show. But I feel that Tim needs a little bit of an intervention here. Captain needs a little bit of an intervention. And let me just say, again, he's a good guy. He's a great guy. I like him a lot, But there are things that worry me with Captain. And if you know who I'm talking about, then maybe you guys don't know him as well as I do. And I don't know him that well, but there are things about him that we need to talk about here. And I feel like this is the episode to do that. Going forward here, we need to have that, what we're going to improve of ourselves going forward in 2022. And I just, my heart just goes out to this guy. And I appreciate him for listening all the time. And Captain, if you're listening, Tim, this comes from deep in my heart here. Okay, first of all, I wrote these things down. This is kind of like Festivus, airing of the grievances here. But this is airing of my concerns out of your well-being, Tim. Okay? He says he doesn't drink IPAs. And that wouldn't concern me as much, but I have drank some of the stuff that he thinks is good. And it's not good. There is no, it's just like somebody drinks gasoline and they're like, It's like, no, dude, that is not good. It's not good. It's okay to say it's not good. Listen, he doesn't like IPAs, and that's fine. But I don't think he's being truthful with himself. And I'm pretty sure that behind closed doors, he's drinking IPA. I bet if you go to his house and look in his beer fridge, Cap's got wall-to-wall IPA. It may be a stout, because they're not all bad. But look, who's getting who? IPAs are probably, next to maybe a Pilsner, probably the best beers out there as far as kind of beers. Of course, there are some IPAs that are better than others, because not everything's created equal. But I gotta feel that he is not being honest with the rest of us, and that he is definitely drinking IPAs behind the scene. And the other thing I want to talk about is him insisting that the Super Nintendo is better than the Sega Genesis. And it really worries me when you say this, Tim. Look, Cap. I don't feel like you're being truthful there either, okay? This guy sits down every Tuesday and does a stream, and he streams Sega Genesis games. He is going for a complete collection. Every time I see him at a convention, he's out there looking for Sega Genesis games. This does not sound like a guy who thinks that the Super Nintendo is better. And on top of it, he doesn't like role-playing games, which I don't blame him. And that's what the Super Nintendo is probably known for best, I would say, is all of its great role-playing games, which are garbage. So I feel like maybe he's being forced to say that the Super Nintendo is better. And Tim, look, I whether you're listening or you're watching, you got to listen to me here. Listen, hey man, blink twice if someone's forcing you to say that the Super Nintendo is better than the Sega Genesis. I know that it's not. But I gotta feel like maybe someone's holding you captive, right? Saying, dude, you can't say that about the Sega Genesis. You gotta say that the Super Nintendo is better. I know you don't think that. I really do. I met you. You're a great guy. I can't believe that you would think that. I really don't. I love you, man. Cap, here's to you. Blink twice if people are making you say that the Sega Genesis is not better than the Super Nintendo. I love you, buddy. Here's to going forward. Here's to you drinking IPAs in 2022. You're a silly man. What do we got? What do we got to go now? Man. So I'm kind of behind the times here a little bit because of where I left off with our last episode. And, at the end of the year, a lot of things wrap up, and especially in TV. And there's a couple things that actually wrapped up, and then there's some stuff that started. So let's talk about that. And the first thing I want to talk about is Spider-Man No Way Home, because that was on the cusp of coming out. I think my last episode was on the Tuesday before that Thursday when it came out. And I got to tell you, man, I love this thing. I don't know if the rest of you guys have seen it or not. So let me just say, this is going to have spoilers in it. So if you haven't seen it yet and you don't know you don't want to know what happens, this is where you skip out. And that goes the same for Hawkeye I'm going to talk about. I'm going to talk about Boba Fett. They all are going to have spoilers. Here's a little spoiler for you. If I ruin Hawkeye, don't worry, because if you watch it, it's going to ruin itself for you. Anywho, Spider-Man No Way Home. It is, by now, even if you haven't seen it, you already know that the two original Spider-Men are in there, and that was the one played by Tobey Maguire in the original two, and then the Amazing Spider-Man with Andrew Garfield. I was blanking out there a little bit. And I cannot tell you how great it was seeing these guys. And it was so well done. Now, look, I've heard a lot of people, there was so much fan service. Of course there was fan service. But fan service isn't a bad thing as long as you do it right. As long as you do it right. That's all you got to do. You got to do it right. And sometimes people don't do it right. And it feels cheesy and it feels forced. This didn't feel forced at all. And so then you had all the original villains coming back. And that was kind of what the whole thing was about, which I really enjoyed. I loved it. And let me just say, I want to give a shout out to two of these guys. Number one, the guy who played Doc Ock, Alfred Molina, which he is an amazing actor, and he did a great job. It felt like he just played Doc Ock yesterday. So good. And William Dafoe, who played the Green Goblin, God, I got to tell you, that guy was absolutely flippin' amazing. His performance probably was the best out of the whole movie. I mean, so good. First of all, I love William Dafoe. Anything he does is great. And he's got that lean kind of look to him. Not a normal look, but I mean, anything that he's been in, Boondock Saints, or I'm trying to think of that one he was just in like last year, where he was in the Lighthouse. Really weird movie, really good. I love William Dafoe, and he's another one. It was like he played the Green Goblin yesterday, and I guess he said that he wanted to do all of his own stunts, like he wanted to do all the action scenes. I don't know if he did all of his own stunts, but he wanted to do a lot of it, and that's the way he was going to be able to come back. And they nailed it. He nailed it. They all were so good. And, Jamie Foxx was in it. And, and he was fine, and then and Sandman. And, they were okay. But there were the two that I was really interested was Dr. Octavius and then Green Goblin. And I loved the way they went with it. Was Peter trying to help these guys out, where instead of sending them back to their own universes where they were just going to die, where he tries to cure all these guys and send them back to have a chance at a better life. I love that. I loved that that's what they did. And that the other two Spider-Men come in to help him out, to help do that. Just a great movie from beginning to end. Look, are there plot holes in it? Yeah. I mean, if you want to pick this thing apart, you definitely can. But I love the way it started. I love the middle part, the meat and the whole thing between him and Doctor Strange. And I loved the ending. It was, first of all, can we talk about one of the big things that just hit me right here? And that was Aunt May dying, which I kind of had a feeling that something like that was going to happen. And Marissa Tomei, who is a beautiful woman and who played Aunt May really well. And nothing against the other Aunt Mays. I mean, Sally Fields, and I can't think of the original actress's name for Tobey Maguire, all played excellent Aunt Mays. But listen, Marissa Tomei, mwah, baker's kiss right there. And she ended up dying. And so she gets hurt and she stands up, and you're in the moment. And they crafted this moment perfectly. She's injured, but they didn't know how bad. And, you know, with Peter teetering on, you know, I should have never helped these guys, or whatever. And she drops the line of all lines. With great power comes great responsibility. Look, we've heard this 2 other times in 2 other iterations of Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield. And they could have dropped this any other time, and it would not have had the impact that it had here. And right when things were at their darkest, she drops that. And I got to tell you, if you could get an Oscar for timing in a movie, that is it. That was so well timed. God, it was. I can't even tell you. Look at me. I'm this. I just loved it. And to her to pass away right after that. I mean, I got to be honest with you. There was a lot of emotions going through this. I might have teared up, and I've seen it twice, and I might have teared up the second time too. And I knew what was coming. It's such a great moment when in any movie or franchise. The best part is when everything goes to shit, right? Because that's when things really, the flavor of that movie or that franchise really comes into play here. And if you can do that part right, you've generally nailed it and made a good movie or had a good franchise. You know, part of the reason why Empire Strikes Back is the best Star Wars movie ever. And, you know, and people that don't think that, they're dumb, okay? They're just dumb. I'm sorry, we don't say dumb here, but yeah, you are dumb. Anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, so she died, and just the fact that everybody comes together at the end and just helps these villains out, right? And the camaraderie between Tobey Maguire, Tom Holland, and Andrew Garfield, it was super great. And I was kind of curious because my wife didn't go with me the first time. So I went and seen it, and then she's like, you know, and I want to go and see it. And I went with her the second time, and I was like, well, I already know everything that's going to happen. Is it going to be as good the second time as it was the first? It was so good because I was looking forward because I'm like, oh, you know what's going to come up? You know what's going to happen next? And I wasn't saying that, but in my mind I'm thinking, and I enjoyed the hell out of it. Probably just as much the second time as I did the first time. And there's not too many movies that I can say that about. So, you know, Marvel, Sony, kudos to you guys for making this movie just a great movie. And I can't wait to see where you guys go in the future. They signed Tom Holland for another 3 movies, which is pretty exciting. And the way they ended it with nobody remembering Peter Parker and them kind of going back to the roots of Spider-Man, him on his own, making his own suit, just being that friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. I'm ready. I'm in. I can't wait to see what they do with him, with Spider-Man next. Okay, so another another show that came about and concluded was Hawkeye. And look, I'm going to do this fast because Hawkeye was very much just okay. It was okay. If they had never done a Hawkeye show, I'd have been okay with that. I wish they would have done a better Hawkeye show, but this thing was so boring. And I love the Hawkeye character. But that Kate Bishop character could have been so much better. And they just did nothing with any of these people. And then they brought Natalie, what's her face? Her sister came in. The Black Widow's sister. I can't even think of her name. Natalia or whatever. Or no, that's what Black Widow's name was. Anyway, she wanted to kill Clint because she thought he had something to do with why Natalia died and blah, blah, blah. And it ended up being so anticlimactic. I mean, I give you spoilers, but it don't matter. You watch it, don't watch it. I'm just mentioning it because it wrapped up, because I talked about it before, but I mean, what can I say? It was boring. The ending was boring. Everything was boring. I don't know. I don't know. And there's supposed to be a spinoff of the Latino girl who was missing a leg, that was trying to go after Hawkeye to kill him, that knows all the martial arts or whatever. I got to be honest with you. If you were going to do a spinoff of anybody in this show, I would not do it on anybody here, because this show was not good. It was just okay. It wasn't bad. Let me just say that. It wasn't bad. But, like, dude, if you were going to put a movie that was so bland in the middle of the road, you would name it Hawkeye. That's all I'm going to say. So, there's that. Let's talk about Boba Fett. But, because, man, this thing came out and I love this show. So far, only 2 episodes. I love this show. I want to talk to the people that didn't like the first episode. What are you guys on, man? What are you guys on? This first episode that came out got so much grief. What do you guys want? I don't understand. I don't understand. The only thing I had a problem with is how slow it was. I mean, they were building this up. They had to tell his backstory. Didn't you want to know how he got out of the Sarlacc pit? I mean, come on. And I was really shocked. Like, I watched the first episode, and other than it being a little bit shorter than I would have liked, I loved it. I was like, wow, this was great. And then I went online, and people were just were shitting all over it. I'm like, what are you talking about? And they're like, well, we'll wait till the second episode. I'm like, you guys are all out of your mind. This was good. You know, it wasn't the best thing that I'd ever seen, but it was still really good. I just, for the life of me, couldn't figure out why people were just, you know, not having it with the first one. You know, I guess they didn't like the Sand People and everything that was going on with that, but I really enjoyed that. And then even with the second one, because the second one was more about the Sand People and them training him and helping him. And I got to tell you what, the Sand People, I did not like the Sand People until Boba Fett. I had nothing but I'd rather not have to deal with any of these Sand People. I don't care about them. Guess what? I love the Sand People now. Who knew? Who knew that this show was going to do that for me? I love the Sand People. I still want to see every Jawa shot in the face, though. I hate the Jawas. I mean, those little bastards, they steal everything. Why has nobody just blown up that sandcrawler? I mean, that's all you got to do. I would take the Millennium Falcon, fly over it, and shoot a photon torpedo right in the side of that thing. Boom. Done. Guess what? Jawas ain't taking anything from anybody anymore because they're all dead. Anyway, well, I mean, I guess the Stormtroopers did it in A New Hope, now that I think about it. Yeah, because, I mean, why not? I hate the Jawas. I hate the Jawas. I hate them. Shoot them all in the face. All of them. I like the Sand People now. So now we got to have a show to where it makes me like the Jawas, because right now I'm still like, just shoot them in the face. Anyway, so of course with Boba Fett came the Patton Oswalt, you know, prophesized scene where where it shows him getting out of the Sarlacc pit, and I got to tell you, they nailed it. It was so eerie and creepy and scary, and him getting out of there, it was like, oh, I'm like, he got out. I'm like, we actually seen this shit. I don't know. Am I the only one here? I'm like, does that alone made that first episode good? And people online were like, yeah, I didn't like it. I'm like, okay, well then, I mean, do you not like ice cream and puppies too? I mean, I don't get it. I don't get it. Whatever. So there's not really much to say about Boba Fett other than the fact that, it shows how he got out of there. The Sand People pretty much took him captive, but then, because he's a badass, ended up helping these guys out and becoming part of the tribe. And at the same time, too, we're kind of seeing, him trying to take over Jabba's, empire in the current present timeline, and that's interesting. I will say now that, because I think there's going to be 6 or 7 episodes, so we're 2 in. So I'm really hoping though that with 2 being down and showing how he got out of the Sarlacc pit, how he survived, how he helped the Sand People. Now I wanted to switch over to all in the present timeline, because now that's what I'm really interested in. And there are other things that I don't understand because I didn't read the comics, but other, like a gladiator Wookiee, who everybody that knew who that was, lost their damn minds over. And I didn't know who he was. I mean, I do now. And if you haven't seen this, check it out. And just the fact that, the way this Wookiee looks, he's like a black and gray Wookiee. Huge. This guy looks like a bad ass. And I'm really looking forward to episode 3, which comes out on Wednesday. Every Wednesday. And I'm really hoping, and I'm sure he's going to play into this more. But, yeah, I can't wait for the next episode. Love that Boba Fett. Love it. So, I'm behind the times. And I don't know how this slipped by me. I really don't. So this was about a month ago that all this stuff came out. And I don't know. I don't know where I was. Off in La La Land, evidently. But you guys remember I was talking about the Disney Star Wars Starcruiser experience and the enormous price for 2 days, this experience at the Disney World resorts. What was it, like $6,000 or something for a family of 4 for 2 nights? And they were saying, well, it's just not for the stay, it's for the experience, because you're going to be doing all this other stuff, right? Okay, so, and, I went over a big thing about this and like how just tone deaf it was and how crazy it was. That kind of money was just absolutely ridiculous, asking people to do that. Okay, so evidently about a month ago, Disney released this video. And it was like a hype video for the Starcruiser. Now they've already started taking reservations to do this, and I think it opens up on, I think it's March. The first reservations are for, I think, somewhere in there. Anyway, so people have already dropped the cash, put it down, to be some of the first people to do this. And then Disney drops this kind of trailer or hype video. It's like 2 minutes long. And I don't even know where to begin on this thing. This thing is the worst thing ever as far as a hype video goes. So it's a kid, I don't know, maybe early teens, or maybe like 12, 13, meeting up with this lady who's going to show him around, the Starcruiser. And it's just the worst acting, over the top, being excited to be there. Oh, wow, look it. I'm so excited to be there. And if I can find it, it's really hard because they took this video down because there was such a bad backlash after this came up that Disney took this shit down lickety split. Now, if I can find it in the video part of this podcast, I will have it somewhere in here. And the internet being the internet, I'm sure I'm going to be able to find it because I know there are a billion YouTube channels that covered this. And so I'll put some of the clips up here if I can. Anyway, so they pretty much walked through a part of this whole thing. And this looks like hot garbage. let me just say, does this look like a family of four would get their money's worth at $6,000? Hell no. No, it most definitely does not. Okay, so where to start here? So let's go down the hallway. And part of it is the hallway of the hotel. And this hotel hallway couldn't look more plain Jane if they tried. All white. The doorways kind of look like if you were on a spaceship. They got some sort of readout on the wall. But I mean, it was the most unremarkable hallway as far as, I mean, look, let me just say here before I go on, at $6,000 for a family of four, this place, the expectations better be met. And I know it's like, well, you know, you got one thing in your mind and it might not be reasonable. Bullshit. For $6,000, they better be matching at least somewhere close to what I'm thinking. And that hallway looked like 25 cents. Okay? So then they have this kid kind of goes through this doorway into like the lounge, you know, the bar or whatever, which looked boring as hell. And then there was this Twi'lek woman, and if you know Star Wars, you know what I'm talking about, but this alien woman who starts singing, and I'm just sitting there going, this can't be real. Is this like The Onion doing like a video thing here? But I'm like, no, this is real. They actually made this. And it shows them going into the cockpit of the ship. I mean, I don't even know how to describe it because it is so unremarkable. And she's like, well, you know, this might be, and I guess you can go up there and press the buttons and interact with it. And this whole time I'm going, okay. I'm still waiting for that part to where, and then this is worth $6,000, you know, or what, $1,200 a person for 2 days. And then she's like, well, and then this might be the lever where you might be able to pull it back and send the ship into hyperspace. And then like he shows the kid pulling the lever back, and then all the movie screens like for the windows, you know, show the ship going into hyperspace. And I'm like, dude, what the hell is going on here, ladies and gentlemen? This is not $6,000 for a family of four. Worth it. I'm like, you guys got to show something here because I can't. Even if it was like $200 a night, I'm still like this. Yeah, no, there's nothing here that makes me want to go here because they keep showing like the concept art and then they show the real thing and it is vastly different. That concept art looks awesome. That might be worth $6,000. What they're showing you as the actual ship itself? No. It's rough. So one of the big things here too is that they're trying to sell you is there's lightsaber training here. And there's actually a separate video showing this. And they haven't taken this down. And they should. Disney, if you're listening, let me tell you what. Take that video down too. Because you might not have the bad acting like in this other one, but this lightsaber training looks dumb as hell. It looks dumb as hell. Take it down. Because the best thing you could hope for right now is you just get a cash grab here and hope that the people, by the time the people figure out how bad all this stuff is, they've already spent the money. They're already there. Because they have this video. So I don't know who these people are, but they have a woman, maybe she's an Imagineer there, and she meets this older guy. And they both got the Disney cast pin on, so they're obviously employees. And she's going to show him the training, how they train there. And basically there's a sensor in the wall that's going to shoot like a laser beam out. So she hands him a quote unquote lightsaber. Now this thing, the lightsaber that she hands him, this thing, it is the most generic looking hilt. It basically looks like they took a flashlight and jammed a plastic tube on it, and then, you know, maybe drop a couple D batteries in there, turn it on. I'm like, this thing is the worst. It is the most unimaginative thing they could have come up with. And this is Disney. So he takes this thing and he's like, and at the beginning he's like, oh, wow, look at this thing. That's so cool. And it's like, you're thinking, wow, no, it's not. But okay, it's your video, right? So then he starts doing this training of these laser beams, these beams of light coming out of the wall, and you got to deflect them and this and that. And that's where this video really takes a turn for the worse, because he couldn't look like he was having a more not fun time. This dude didn't look impressed at all. And then they kind of cut away. And I'm like, and this is one of the big things you are selling for on this experience is the lightsaber training. And that looks like absolute garbage. What are you guys doing? Disney, what the fuck are you guys doing? What the hell are you guys doing? I really hope for your guys' sake. And I love how I'm talking to Disney because they're going to listen to me. Guys, I hope for your sake that this thing is going to be light years better. You like that? You know, kind of a little Star Wars reference there. This thing better be light years better, because if that's it, this thing is going to be the most epic flop of all time. And I got to tell you, a lot of people are thinking the same thing, because a lot of those reservations that were made, supposedly, there's been a lot of people canceling. Now, I know it might sound like I'm happy about this a little bit, and I hope not. I hope that's not how it's coming off. But here's the thing. I want this to be good. I want this to be good because this would be really cool. It would be something that I would never partake in because I just couldn't, spend that kind of money on something like that. Especially if you're going on vacation. To go all the way down there from the Chicagoland area just for 2 nights, and then what? And then come back, because it's $6,000. That's all I'm doing. Because I know on their website it says, and then, don't forget to book, more days after that. I'm like, I just spent $6,000. Have you been to your place? Because it's going to be at least another $3,000 after that. So what, like $9,000? And that's on the cheap side for down there. I don't know, guys. I don't know where you guys are living. And it's funny too, because we're talking about going back in maybe October with my father. Me, my wife, my son, and my father go back there. So I don't know. I mean, not to do the Starcruiser, but just like a normal Disney vacation. I love Disney. I grew up every other year going to Disney. They, if anybody else, can put together one hell of an experience. They are the masters at that. This video that they released and then took down right away, that's not it. So part of me is like, maybe this isn't really a true representation of what you're going to get. But then why put this video out in the first place if that's not what you're getting? I don't know. Either which way, that video was a very bad idea. And that lightsaber training, take that shit down. Because that definitely is not helping your cause either. And I'm going to try and put that up here too. If you're watching, I'm going to put a little bit of that up here. But I'm not going to have the sound on. Watch the whole thing. Like, find it on YouTube and watch the whole thing. Because that guy was not impressed by that at all. And he works for Disney. And they still put that up there. I don't know who's running, like, the public relations side of things for the Starcruiser thing, but they should be fired because you are not doing your job very well. Now, maybe in his case, you could say, or her, their case, you could say that, this is all I had to work with. I don't know. I don't know, guys. I don't know. Hopefully, what I think is really going to happen, and what I actually hope happens, is that this whole experience thing goes away. And what it becomes is, hey, this is just going to be a Star Wars themed hotel. Yes, there's going to be some extras that we're going to do along with it, but it's not going to be this off the wall, huge, in-depth experience. It's going to be something that's enjoyable, that maybe it's not going to cost $6,000 for 2 days, where more people can go in and appreciate this hotel, and appreciate like the kind of world that they build there. And that's what I'm really hoping, because otherwise that's the only way I'm going to see that place, unless I go, you can't even go in and just walk through it. You got to actually have, reservations to get into the place. So here's hoping, Disney. Good luck with that, because if you've seen that video, you guys definitely need the luck. All right, guys. Well, it feels like I've been doing this forever today. We're gonna get back into the swing of things here. We're gonna get it hardcore in on the gaming this year. I'm just glad it's another year. 2021 wasn't all that bad. It wasn't all that bad. There was a lot more ebbs and flows to 2021 than there was 2020. 2020 was just a shit show from beginning to end. There was some high spots in 2021 and some low spots. I have a feeling that this year's going to be a little bit of the same. And all I could say is, guys, I love you all. Be careful out there. Things are still a little in flux right now. Stay at home if you don't have to go out. Play some video games. Maybe that'd be a good excuse to go buy some new video games. You know what I'm saying? All right, guys. Well, thanks for hanging out with me. I really enjoyed hanging out with you. And until next time, I'll see you later. Good night and good